When Women Speak and New Jersey Poetry Events presents
When People Speak, poetry and conversation with pop-up poetry guests. Our pop-up poetry lineup will be
Thank you. So Tori's been hanging out and she's in the wings somewhere. Tori, can you unmute your mic, please?
Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
How are you?
I'm great.
Yeah, the lady from California, right? California, right? Trying to avoid earthquakes, trying to avoid, most importantly, COVID-19 because it's really strong. Yeah. Right. Okay, so wear your mask. That's my word of caution. So you want to share something with us this evening?
Yes, I do.
Please do.
So, this piece is like a split piece. It was something that I wrote before, and then I had I got this message that, came to me and was like, we have to keep speaking. I've taken a while away from the whole ToriLive Daily Nugget thing, to kind of like get myself together. But everything that's happened in recent events with COVID-19, everything that's happened with the whole George Floyd situation and just all the injustice that we're facing today, it just reminded me how important our voices are, because somebody's got to narrate our story. So why not us? So this is a split piece from something I started writing and where I left off writing recently. And it's called Soul Spill. Let us be more than poets. Let the ink on our pages be more than just ink. I hope that when the protests in the street die down, the protests in our souls ignite. I pray that we don't let George Floyd's name become just another hashtag. I really hope there's substance in our fight. Let their signs and t-shirts and murals mean something. Let the looting become more about stealing back our history rather than I grabbed the most Jordans. Let us be more than just poets. Let the ink on our pages be more than just ink. By no means, I'm a poet. Or if I am, I sure don't like to be called one. There are far too many stigmas behind that name. I've never been one for titles anyway. I am a living movement. Let us be more than poets. Let the ink on our pages be more than just ink. I am by no means a poet. I just happen to write poetry. So I guess that makes me a writer. But then again, I don't write it. My soul does. So I let my soul speak to my heart, and the two then communicate to my hands to write. I want to start writing, but these police won't stop shooting, so somebody's got to narrate the stories of these bang, bang, holy bodies. I want these words to outwalk my feet in those marches. Let us be more than just poets. Let the ink on our pages be more than just ink. These words of mine that people keep calling poetry, they come from deep inside. They are the phonics of my soul. I call my poetry soul spills. Kind of as a play on the term oil spill. My thoughts, they are like oceans, And when an oil spill occurs, it takes up an ocean. And so can my words. Because I am more than a poet. And the ink on my pages are more than just ink. It is a written protest. Black Lives Matter.
So I don't know if I even have to interview you about that particular piece. It had so many references to what's going on currently. And I think I really followed it, but you want to tell me something about what inspired you to write that?
Okay, so what inspired the first part of it? Like I told you, it's a split piece. So I started out writing it as basically just to sum up what my poetry is, When I first got into the poetry scene, like 3 years ago, I was just an attendee, honestly. I've been writing all my life, but I never really shared. I never really had a desire or really even found the space to share anything that I wrote until my best friend Jawaria brought me to Godsent was having an open mic. He was doing verses. Yeah, verses. Yes, he was doing verses at World Impact. That was my very first open mic. And you know, I just been doing my thing so far. And I don't know. It was like I didn't want to categorize myself because it's like I felt like everybody who is a poet, like let me be candid, I felt like everybody who falls under the category of poet were so much better than me. Like I'm over here reading little notebooks and you know, and like no, I'm not a poet. I can't be a poet, but I'm a writer. And it writes and it comes from my soul, you know. And in light of recent events and everything that's been going on, that's where all my additives came in to that piece, and it became what you heard.
So you know there are like different types of poets. Like for instance, let me give you an example. When we talk about Langston Hughes, a tremendous, famous writer, poet, but do you know he never performed anything? He just wrote them. And look at the ones, the legends like Maya Angelou and oh boy, my mind is escaping me now. But like when they're on stage, they're not always memorizing. They're reading from their huge volumes. Sonia Sanchez, that's what I was thinking of. Huge volumes of poetry. So don't ever feel that you're less than because you read. I'm a reader. And I don't have any shame in that, as long as you can bring emotion and pain and joy and whatever else there is to your words, you're fine. And don't let anybody make you feel that you're less than because you happen to have that style. There's room in this for everybody's voice. And I'd like to thank you. And hopefully you'll come out again and be safe in California. And I think James wants to add something.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to add my 2 cents to what Mira was saying. Yeah, like one of the greatest, I consider the greatest poet of our generation, who passed away and is the father of the very mayor of Newark, you know, Mary Baraka. He also too read a lot of his work, you know, from the paper. So, you know, that's one of the best examples of, you know, it's not all about reciting and you know, from memory. You know, some of the greatest poets to ever, you know, pick up a pen, you know, read from paper. So it's all about your voice and your level and where you want to take this art form. I had to learn that because I felt the same way that you did, you know, and you know, that during the early part of my writings, I didn't think of myself as a poet, but then I later realized, no, it's about my voice and what I want to contribute to this beautiful art form. And I also gotta do a shameless plug. Tori is also on Pulsar.
Yes, she was amazing. I should find that picture of her. That was like an awesome production.
You took such a beautiful picture.
You should do it again.
Oh yeah, well, trust me, I got plans.
Okay, all right. So we'll hear about those plans. Tori, James and I both would like to thank you for coming, and we're going to move along on this pop-up open mic so that we're not here until the wee hours of the morning. Thank you, Tori. You can hang out. You can leave if you like. I hate to keep saying that because I don't want people to really leave. You can listen to us on the live. Share it, please, so that other people can also be a part of it. Up to the mic next, we have Ambition. And James, you want to give his intro?
Yes. This brother, I remember seeing him, and the first time that I saw him perform, I was immediately blown away. I was blown away by his passion, and I was blown away by his story, because it's a very inspiring story, and I'll let him get into that. But you know, he resides in Jersey, but definitely has created a staple in the Philly poetry community. He's an entrepreneur. I'm inspired by this brother, by his work ethic, by how much he has a passion for poetry and making sure that we take our own art to that next level. And he could talk about some things that he's working on coming up in July, that's going to help you as well, get to that next stage in your art form. So I like to bring up at this time the phenomenal one himself, Ambition, the poet.
Thank you so much. Can y'all hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Good. Wow. My name is Ambition the Poet. It's really not my name. It's more like a banner. So when you say my name, you think about what's deep down inside of you. A strong desire that meets one goal, hoping that you be better this year than you were last year. I'm gonna do something black today. It's called What It's Like to Be Black Part 2. I do have a writer's block class coming up on July 11th from 2 to 4. There are two sides to poetry. I've been studying this, especially with spoken word artists. There are some who emphasize voice, and there are some who emphasize performance. And what you're doing is way more on the performance side. And a lot of poets forget to perform the actual words that they're speaking. And so spoken word is the art of literally voice through body, voice and body. And so when you speak, your body should be in one with what you're saying. So I guess I get into my piece, What It's Like to Be Black Part 2. This is on my page. It is new. So you guys are going to get the first time me performing. I did put on my page, but we got to get the kinks out somehow. And one thing I tell poets is do not be afraid to do new poems in front of whoever or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just be fearful and you'll get through it. If life was a ballot, George Floyd would still be here because his neck would have voted for white privilege. And being black is like coughing in the system. There's some officers still trying to use perjury when it comes to straddling our throats. And thank you, officer, for caring about my sleeping. I guess the police academy taught you that bullets is the best way to tuck the pillows that's in my deathbed. But when you put the gun in my head, will you let me smell the gunpowder that's tucked so neatly in your clip? Will you choke hold me so I can feel the evil that pumps through the veins of your forearm? I guess I tell my kids that bullets are like little rocket ships. You see, when they start shooting, I would tell them that death just has a space exploration program. How can some cops say they care about us when you won't even give us the names of the officer that had racism oozing through their sweat glands? How dare they say that they care and there's no white privilege? I seen white people walking around with an AR-15 in Michigan. Welcome to Jersey, nigga. If you was to try to walk around with an AR-15 and triple Trenton Capitol steps, hollow points would chip every bone in my body. Then they said you could probably be the cop. How? In court? The DA knows the judge knows the DA, they know the public defender. You know what he's gonna tell you? You better plead guilty, even if your ass is innocent. But you don't know what it's like to be black. So when you're getting pulled over, you better turn your radio down. See, this is where the instincts die. This is where the heartbeat starts to slow. See, all I can tell you is when you hear a police siren, the black psyche, it feels like your heart starts to clog its own blood valve. And if you're black and you driving that night, all I can say to you in your ear slowly is your ass better pack a pacemaker. And it's hard for me to go to church, y'all. It feels like my Christianity is being abused by the badges of complacency. I don't loot. I protest through my voice. I'm not brainwashed by no books. All I can say is rest in peace to the boy who died in the Wendy's parking lot, and it sounded like this. Bah, bah, bah. Rest in peace to the boy Rashard Brooks. My name is Ambition the Poet. Thank you.
Whoa, Ambition. I see exactly what you were trying to show Andrew in that. You brought that. Andrew, do you get the message? Not that you were bad, Andrew, but you gotta sometimes learn from those that have been out there a minute. And I see some similarities between the two styles. And I think that's what he was trying to get you to understand. Andrew, you were dynamite. Ambition, thank you.
Absolutely, thank you so much.
Yeah, we need to take some of these youth under our wing and kind of mentor them. And I'd like to make a connection for Andrew with you because I think the styles are so similar that he could learn some and we learn from them sometimes as well.
Absolutely. And it takes training. It takes a lot of training and listening to speaker techniques, learning how to, breathe and making sure that your body and voice is one. A lot of people rely on their voice and not their body. And so what I saw him doing was relying on his body, and his voice is going to be with it, of course, because of the acoustics, and it is virtual. Because that performance I gave you is not going to be nowhere near as good as when I'm standing up in a venue, you know, but there's just certain things that we all need to work on as poets. And I'm definitely here. If any of the youth poets or any poet on here wants the help, I definitely love talking about poetry and teach it. So yeah.
So you miss the live venues, I see.
Oh, I definitely do. Like they to tell you, he know when I'm in the venue, I'm walking around, I'm giving a performance. Like you cannot ignore me when you're in the venue with me. I'm up on you, like you know. But I'm a hype, yeah, I'm a hype poet. You know, some of us are energized,
bro. Again, thank you so much. James, you have anything you want to say to Ambition?
Yeah, not only is he a phenomenal poet, I forgot to mention this, but he also has his own clothing line. The brother, when I say the brother is really a testament to his own name, he is definitely a brother filled with ambition, and he's doing it. So, you know, can you tell a quick little bit about that, brother?
Oh yeah, so what I end up doing was that when you get around some mentors, it's very important for the youth and some of us to get around some business mentors. And he was teaching me how to really be an entrepreneur, but from my soul and what feels right for me. And one of the things was that I wanted to create a clothing line. You know how all the poets have merch. And he was like, you got to have merch. And I was like, you know what? I just can't do the regular, I'm a poet, sure. I got to do something different. And so I sat down with a coach and we got one thing to another. She told me to think about it. I went in the store one day and I didn't see any clothing in children clothing stores with characters with brown skin on it. And I said, you know what? It's odd. The only thing I see close to representation is Black Panther at the time. I mean, that was the only thing he kind of had. And I said, you know what? I'm going to create my own line. I love anime and I love these things called chibis. Chibi is a small anime character. Oh yeah, she know because she's from Filipino, but actually the girl that designs my line is from the Philippines on Fiverr. And so these little chibis are with brown skin on purpose, but they have the anime eyes. And I wanted to make something that was amazing for youth, that something was cuddly, but had the brown skin to represent that brown skin people are all around the world, not just Black, but all around. And so I wanted to create a line for them. And yeah, came up with it, and the Ambasito is taking off. I can't even tell you how many people love the line. Never in a million years that I think I'd be selling the children's clothing line. Here I am.
It sounds amazing. Can you do us a favor? I don't know if you're watching your phone and doing the stream on your phone as well. Can you put that information in the stream or pass it on so that we could promote that as well? Because we're all about networking here and giving the shout out to anybody that's doing anything positive. Ambition, that's wonderful. Thank you.
And I would love to stay connected with you, just as I'm connected with James. I keep pushing to the poetry community. We will not be like any other community in this state. Poetry from North to South Jersey and Central should be united. And as long as we keep pushing that, I want to really emphasize that I want us to stay united as a state. And so please.
Where are you from?
I'm from Sicklerville, New Jersey.
My sister lives in Egg Harbor Township, so she wanted she wanted me to do a poetry venue down there, and I was like, I don't know anybody down there, but now I do. So we'll talk.
Oh, yeah, and you're not too far from Raymond. Yeah, let's make it happen.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Right.
So thank you, Ambition.